Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Captain America Falcon combo figure. It's one of those figures where I thought it was gonna be cool, and then I got it, and it is cool, but it's also kind of bad. It's some reused parts, it's some new parts, it's some pretty decent paintwork mixed with some pretty lousy paintwork. It's one of those where you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it or you're gonna be confused by it like I am. So let's get him off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, this guy stands roughly 6.5 inches tall to the top of his head, which makes him just under 16.5 centimeters. And the reason I said I'm confused by it is because it's a really sharp looking figure. They nailed it in some regards. It looks really good in some regards, but in other regards, it looks really bad. So it kind of just depends on what your eye catches at the moment. For instance, if I look at the chest, I think that looks pretty cool, the nice paintwork, nice sculpt work, but then I realize that his pecs are way narrower than even his abs. It looks horrible. It looks really, really bad. Look how tiny his pecs are. They don't fit any other part of his body at all. They're so tiny. They look like they're for a figure that's about that tall. Very narrow and just very small in general, so that's horrible. But then I look at other things and I see that the white is painted pretty well and it's sculpted around, so that looks good. I see the abdominal section, even though it looks a little bit too thick, especially in relation to the chest, but I think that ab crunch, they nailed it. You can barely tell it's there, and it leans all the way back and it works, and it leans pretty far forward and it works. Again, they nailed it, but it's just issues here and there that make it no good. The paintwork on the back, super fuzzy around here. That looks really, really bad. Paintwork up here is super fuzzy. The blue does not look good over the white, which shouldn't have been an issue at all. I look at the shield and I see that it's completely cheap looking. You know, we've had a variety of cap shields. This isn't the worst one by any means, but it's not great. It's a little bright red compared to the other reds, but I can let that go. But there's no metallic anywhere except for a little bit of blue, which isn't a big deal either. No paintwork on this side though, and we still have this lousy clip instead of the kind that actually has the straps, which would have been really nice. And a little bit of paintwork would have gone a long way on this shield. Like I said, we have some new parts and some old parts, so I'm going to run over the articulation. The head can lean all the way back, no problems there. Let's get the camera in focus. It can lean all the way down, so that's really good, and it sits nicely on the body. It's not too bad. The shoulders are still too far forward, but not by any means the worst. It's actually one of the better figures. As you can see, if you look straight up, the shoulders fall pretty far back on the neckline, which is good. This is probably one of the better alignments we've seen. Oftentimes we have the shoulder too far forward, so that's a good thing. If this guy had a bigger chest, I think I'd be pretty much on board with it. A lot of things are good on this guy, so if that chest was just blown out just a little bit, I'd be happy. The head, while it does look a lot generic, like a lot of the heads we've gotten recently, it does look good. They did a good job with the paintwork and the sculpt work for the goggles, so I like that. Shoulder articulation works pretty well. You can bring the arms out almost horizontally, and they obviously have the full rotation, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, gripping hand with the hinge and swivel, and then just the fist hand on this side. So all of that's pretty standard. You already saw the ab crunch works really well. The belt doesn't get in the way of the waist twist. The waist twist is a little snappy based on the molds. You can see that. I can let that kind of thing slide. That's just going to happen sometimes, so that's not a big deal. The belt is sculpted really well, and it's painted well. We have gray, then black, and silver all in one spot, and it looks really sharp with the gray on the black. We don't normally get that kind of thing. Would have been nicer if they painted the little buttons on there, but I'm still pretty happy with it. The hips go pretty far forward. We're not having too much limitation there. And out to the sides at a good 45 degrees, so I'm okay with that. Our thigh swivel works. Our double jointed knee works really nicely. And then for the ankle, well, we get a shin swivel, which you guys know I don't like, but it's there and it doesn't look bad, so that's fine. The ankle, we can bring the foot a little bit forward, then it goes all the way back, and we get our ankle rocker. And that's the only time the shin swivel comes into play, is because these ankle rockers, these newer, I say new now, but it's been 4 years since they started, they peg in at an angle. So when you rotate the foot, it puts it at an angle, and so you can't really use it. You see when you bring the leg out to the side, the foot's still cocked at an angle. But you can do that and rotate the leg around, and then it gives you your foot at a more square pivot. So that works out. So the ankle rocker works in conjunction with the shin swivel, so I'm happy about that. The silver is nice and metallic, but they didn't paint the edges of the silver. So again, for every good thing, there's kind of a bad thing, so this figure is both really good and really bad at the same time. It would be really nice to repaint this guy to give him some really nice depth, because we have a lot of sculpted detail, so that would be cool. But I think most people are going to kind of like this guy, despite that super tiny chest and lack of wings. I suppose this version of Falcon is supposed to have wings, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So, you know, there are shortcomings, but it's still kind of cool, and it's going to look cool on a shelf once you get him posed. Hopefully you won't notice that chest issue. I don't know. I can't decide. I like it, and then I see that chest again, and it bugs me. We do get a little bit of gray in here, by the way. I don't know if that was obvious. It seems like that gray would be continued through this other part right here, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. You guys can let me know. If it's supposed to be gray, then that's a big bummer, and if it's not, then that's fine. So you guys can let me know about that. There you go. You know what? Let me know what you guys think about this figure. I don't always say that in the reviews, but I'm curious because this one's such a kind of on the fence type of figure. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk in the comment section below. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.